there are so many gaps within our communities. We suffer poverty, we suffer marginalization, health inequalities, housing inequality. We live in the most run-down neighborhoods, but I don't blame that because it's the stock of housing that is available. So the Africans, when they go to the council and say, I want a house, the only housing available is in that kind of neighborhood. And this is what we are suffering. And we do not have a voice to change some of the things. Our children are not getting good jobs. They get the menial jobs, and yet they are more qualified than a lot of the indigenous population. Why is it not on merit rather than on color? We are suffering. We have so many issues happening in this country which need to be changed.
As an African, in diaspora, our problem is as glaring, as clear as what we want. Every one of us migrated from different parts of Africa down to Europe, UK, America, wherever. But what we want, we know. How to get what we want, we don't know. So that actually boils down to information. If we are able to bring ourselves together, form a hub where information is being disseminated, we'll be informed. Because if we are not informed, we are automatically deformed. Information is power. We need information. So I urge Africans to come together, irrespective of our profession, our background. Come together and let's form a united front. And you find out that that gap is, if not completely, eradicated, it will be minimized.
Well, I feel very strongly about this, and it's people talk about statutory services that a local authority delivers, and for me this is part of the statutory service because it's part of the well-being of every citizen, and indeed it contributes to the health of the community.
A lot of organizations within the African communities and the organization in the Caribbean society, they don't talk to each other. There's diversity in the culture, quite all right. But this diversity has permeated to the system in such a way that people don't want to talk to each other. They want to go on their own ways.
We need to speak about it. We need to make noise about it, and we need to bring it into the attention. There's what I call the glass ceiling, where somebody goes up the ladder and then all of a sudden they can't move and you wonder why. People come through the door and they go over them, and some of them less qualified than them. And that needs to be brought in the forefront. Yes, we are not as many, so I don't see why we should not be there. Have you ever heard of a bank in Scotland being run by an African? No. How many Africans are qualified to do that? I think quite a lot. Have you heard of a big organization here run by an African? No, it's not happening. Why? Why? We should be asking that question, why? Do we not have capable people?
There is a gap between the people living in Scotland. There is no representation.
I feel it's quite poor in terms of that there are organisations that represent certainly other ethnic minorities in Scotland and in Edinburgh, and there is something of a gap which needs to be addressed.
People have voiced out their opinion and how we can mend the gaps, and now we can come together as a team, as a formidable team, to present our facts to the government. We should see each other as one. We should work together. We have many organizations belonging to Africans and Caribbeans in Scotland. Now, we want to have a common group. We want them to be part of this association. Some don't want to even leave the organization. We are not saying you should leave the organization, but there must be a partnership with this organization so that you see it as your own organization. You see it as your own, I see it as mine, you see it as mine. So we all have hand in it. Then we can come together and present a unified force.
I'm proposing that I might get into politics actually to go speak about this because I'm finding it very difficult because I have children. My grandchildren are going to grow here. As Africans, we need to set up structures for our own people. This is why I set my organization called Hupenyu, because I realized if we do not have something for my own people where they can walk in and see somebody who looks like me, who understands where they are coming from, then we are going to be in trouble. We are going to see our children just moving about from one place, from pillar to post, which normally happens, but they need to go somewhere where somebody will listen to them and understand their predicament.
We were talking earlier about isolation and people having their problems and no one to talk to, no one to turn to. And I think initially if you have a forum like this, you will get people's individual problems, and because they've not had anywhere to express them in the past, but you will work towards what is a positive way forward to represent African and Caribbean communities within the city, within the institutions of the city, and to make sure people understand and are knowledgeable about the cultures that we have here.
Health inequalities are wide, they are huge, and mental health is an issue among the black people. Research has shown that Africans suffer more mental health than the local population. Why? Because of many things that are happening to us. Discrimination, marginalization, poverty, immigration. The list is endless. I'm saying let's come together. Because when we are walking the streets of Scotland, nobody sees a Nigerian, nobody sees a Zimbabwean, nobody sees a Malawian. They see a black face, and that black face, no matter where it's coming from, that face needs to come together and be one voice and be cohesive and talk about our issues as a group, because the same problems a Nigerian is suffering in Scotland, a Malawian is suffering in Scotland, a Zimbabwean is suffering in Scotland. So we need to come together as one person and talk about these things and bring them into the fore.
As Africans, we should unite it. We should have a voice. We should work how to produce or how to develop the African and ethnic minorities to do something in the communities.
A voice, and obviously this is good because through the media is hugely important, and it's about communication. And it's about integration and bringing people together like this forum today has done, and that's why it's been so fruitful. They're a very proud part of the community in Edinburgh and in Scotland. They've contributed greatly, certainly over the last 50 years, and to the development of Edinburgh as we see it now, as the city as it is now. It's time we recognise the contribution that's been made by African and Caribbean communities to Scotland in general, of course, and it is immense, and indeed to Edinburgh as the capital city.
If you look at the combinations of what we have within the community, we are not making use of all this. We have a lot of resources. Look at the ABC media, the TV and the radio in Glasgow, having access to about 30 million people globally. The global reach is very wide. They need to use this media to get their business known to people, their organizations known to people, what they do as individuals. There are some good ideas, there are some good people who have achieved a lot within the community. And people don't know them. The government don't know them. It's not only when bad things are happening that it will be in the news. This is an opportunity, this is a media whereby you can project the good things you are doing. And those who have achieved a lot within the community. And it's a way to sell yourself, to sell your business, to sell your organization out to the whole world and to the government. So you can't have something better than this. We've put a process in place right now, as you can see today. For the first time, we're having a sort of a diversified group of people coming together to form a network, a social network, whereby we can present a common front to the government